Hello, I'm Loretta and I work at the North County Regional Library in Huntersville. And I'm going to tell you a true story. When I was a young woman and had 2 children, we decided to move from upper state New York to Oklahoma. Now in school, I had learned that Oklahoma had been called Indian Territory. I thought, oh great, I finally get to see how the Indians lived. And I could just feature hitching posts, on what you see on TV about Indian villages. Well, we got to Oklahoma, and I found out that the Indians do not live in reservations and teepees. They live in towns, just like you or I. But what I did find out was that Oklahoma had fearsome critters. Oh yes. The very first afternoon we were in Oklahoma, Grandma and Grandpa decided to have a big family picnic. So she invited the whole family. We had aunts and uncles and cousins and babies, and they all piled into Grandpa's backyard, and we had hamburgers and hot dogs. And it was a hot August day. Everybody was having a good time. I happened to look out over the back of the grill into the field beyond, and I saw in the tall grass some long legs going like this. And I went over and I said, Grandpa, do you see what I see over there? Look, doesn't it look like long legs going through tall grass? And he said, oh my goodness. And he went to the tool shed and he got a hoe. And he went out there and he started furiously chopping it up, whatever it was. And when he got back, I said, Grandpa, what in the world was it? He said that was the largest tarantula I have ever seen. It was as big around as a garbage can lid. I thought to myself, oh my goodness, what did I get myself into? Well, we lived with Grandma and Grandpa for a couple of weeks, and then we found a nice little brick home in the country. And I thought, oh, this is perfect. My son was 6, and he had his own coonskin cap and his little BB gun, and he would shoot at anything that moved, and this would be perfect. And my daughter was 3 years old, and wherever he went, she went. And there we were, out in the country. It was a hot day, and I had just come through the back door into the dining room. It was lunchtime, and they were eating their peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at the kitchen table. And my son said, look behind you, Mom. And I looked and I said, yeah? No, look at the top of the inside of the screen door. So I looked and, oh my goodness, there was a tarantula this big on the inside of my screen door, the one I had just come through. And I said, okay, kids, you just sit right there at the table. I couldn't get out the back door, so I ran out the front door, and I went to the tool shed, and I got the longest handled shovel you ever saw. And I went back and I sneaked up behind it, opened up the door, and smacked at it. And it fell, and it hit the ground, and I had scared it, and it jumped about this much, which scared me, because I was frightened of spiders to begin with, little tiny ones, not big ones like that. Now, I had seen a documentary on TV, and I knew that tarantulas are programmed for 2 things: looking for food and defending themselves. And when they go into the defense move, they kind of hunker back on their back legs. And this one was hunkered back on his hind legs, and here were his fangs right here, the ones that help guide the food into the mouth part, I thought, oh my goodness. So I smacked at it again, and I missed it. and it jumped again, but this time I flipped it over with my shovel. And underneath I saw the two fangs, and I drove that shovel right between those two fangs, and I heard the shovel grate on those two claws. As I did that, I thought to myself, I'm glad that was the shovel. And after that, whenever I went outside, I took a good look around. Because whenever it rained, the rainwater would go into the holes that they had dug in the ground, usually around a source of water, like a drainage ditch or a pond or something. They'll have dug their little holes into the banks. So when the water rises, they're forced out of their holes. And so you see them walking around everywhere. And if you go out to the car, you might have to sweep one out of the driveway. So whenever you go to Oklahoma, I warn you, take a long-handled shovel with you and be careful, because there are fearsome critters out there.